Picture this. You walk into a cinema. You've already paid £15 for the ticket. And somehow, you still end up spending another £12 on popcorn and a drink. At this point, a large popcorn can cost almost as much as another cinema ticket. But here's the strange part. That overpriced popcorn, it might actually be the only reason your local cinema is still open. Because despite what most people think, cinemas often don't make most of their money from the films. They make it from the snacks. And once you understand how the cinema business really works, you'll never look at popcorn the same way again. Most people assume cinemas make loads of money from ticket sales. Makes sense, right? You buy a ticket, you watch the film, cinema gets paid. Simple. Except it's not. Because a large chunk of that ticket money actually goes straight back to the film studios and distributors. So when you buy a ticket from the latest blockbuster from companies like Disney or Warner Brothers, the cinema often only keeps a portion of that money. And in the first few weeks after release, the studios can take a massive percentage, sometimes well over half, which means cinemas are left trying to run giant buildings with huge electricity bills, expensive projectors, staff wages, rent, maintenance, all while giving away a huge slice of the ticket revenue. So the real question becomes, how do cinemas actually survive? The answer is sitting in your lap, covered in butter. Popcorn is basically the dream product. Think about it. The raw ingredients are incredibly cheap. Corn kernels, oil, salt, maybe some suspiciously radioactive butter flavoring. Yet cinemas can sell a bucket of popcorn for the price of a small family car. Or maybe not quite, but sometimes it feels close. And here's the genius part. People expect popcorn at the cinema. Imagine sitting through a massive action film in complete silence, eating a cucumber. It just wouldn't feel right. Popcorn became linked with cinema because it smells amazing, it's cheap to make, it's easy to eat in the dark, and crucially, it keeps people buying drinks. And drinks are also very profitable. That giant fizzy drink costing £5, the syrup inside might only cost pennies. Cinema snack counters are basically tiny food businesses hidden inside movie theaters. Oddly enough, cinemas didn't always want popcorn. Back in the early days of film, cinemas tried to feel classy, almost like theaters. Popcorn was seen as messy, too noisy, too cheap. Cinema owners worried people crunching away would ruin the experience. But then something happened. The Great Depression. During the 1930s, people had very little money. But popcorn was cheap, really cheap. A bag of popcorn became an affordable luxury. So while people couldn't necessarily afford expensive entertainment, they could still afford a film and a snack. Suddenly, popcorn sales exploded. Cinema owners realized something important. The snacks were making ridiculous amount of money. And from that moment on, popcorn became part of cinema culture forever. Today, it's almost impossible to separate the two. The smell alone practically tells your brain you are now entering film mode. Cinemas are also extremely clever with how they sell snacks. Notice how the popcorn machine is usually right in the front of the counter? That's deliberate. The smell spreads everywhere. and smell is strongly connected to memory and craving. In other words, you are not weak. You're being psychologically ambushed by warm butter fumes. Then there's the sizing trick. Small popcorn, £6. Medium popcorn, £6.50. Large popcorn, £7. At that point, your brain says, well, obviously, I should get the large. Congratulations, you've just been economically manipulated by the popcorn. Today, cinemas face massive competition. People have streaming services, giant TVs, surround sound, cheaper snacks at home. I mean, you can literally pause a film in your living room and make your own popcorn for about 40 pence. Also, nobody will charge you £4 for bottled water. So cinemas rely heavily on the experience. Big screens, huge sound systems, luxury seating, and of course, the snacks. In many cases, concession sales are what keep cinemas profitable. Without popcorn and drinks, many theaters would struggle badly. Which means every time somebody buys a ridiculously overpriced snack combo, they're helping keep the cinema alive. Even if it does financially devastate them for the next 48 hours. So next time you're sitting in a dark cinema, holding a giant bucket of popcorn, remember this. You're not just buying a snack. You're supporting the entire business model, because the films may bring people through the doors, but the popcorn is what keeps the lights on. And honestly, that might be the most impressive thing corn has ever achieved. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more fascinating explanations behind everyday things. Thanks for watching.